Way, let us know, Adai.
Thank you so much, Carla. Well, it is 9 a.m. We're well into the 9 a.m. hour. I need to introduce you to the wonderful women that we are honoring today. Women making a difference in our community. We are closing out Women's History Month, but these ladies are making history every day of the year. They wake up and they are fighting for our community. I'm so honored to have with me today Cynthia Mitchell-Hurd. She is the president and CEO of the Los Angeles Urban League. Sharice Fremont Weaver, the CEO and president of Brotherhood Crusade. Lori Gay, president, CEO of Neighborhood Housing Services. Thank you so much, ladies, for coming in.
Thank you.
Let me tell you. So we were doing this year for our website, Between Sisters. And one of the questions they asked me was, if you could name 3 women that you would put together to be a powerhouse, name 3. I could not. I was like, there are so many women that are doing things, but right here in our community that are doing things. And your 3 names came up as well as others. I was like, you know what? There's no way you can keep me at just 3. And then I said, you know what? I want to tell these women how I feel about them, you know, about what they do, how you affect not just my life, but everybody's life here. And so just thank you for answering that call and coming in to chat with me on this rainy day, to just not just talk about what you do, but I want this to be a conversation that we can extend from our promotion of Between Sisters, because stepping into a leadership role of those kind of organizations is a huge responsibility. But you didn't step in like overnight. There was a journey that came with that. And we want to kind of have lift the curtain a little bit for the audience so they can know about some of the things that you guys have gone through, your journeys, your challenges, how things in this climate are affecting you with this new administration, the things that are happening with the wildfires. You guys see things differently as women. You know, our male counterparts, we love them. But there's another perspective being a woman leader. And anytime you want to jump in and share, first give us your name and your organization, kind of just a brief summary about what you do. You want to go first, Cynthia?
Sure. Thank you. And thank you for having us today, this morning. You know, the Los Angeles Urban League is a century old. The Los Angeles Urban League, we are all about advocacy, education, workforce, civil rights, and the voice of the marginalized and our Black voice. And we work so hard to make certain that there's always a place at the table for us, and that there's equity across the board. And so as the first woman president in over 103 years, I lifted up a little bit. Thank you. We work diligently just to make sure that whether it's marginalized communities, whether it's our folk of color, that there's always a voice. We go loud and we go hard in the paint, and we have for over a century. And so it's a pleasure to be here today and a pleasure to have this conversation.
Thank you. My girl, Sharice.
A day in the house and with Cynthia. I'm truly honored and blessed.
Oh, thank you.
And I honestly believe I have the best job on earth. My late father, Walter Brahman, founded Brotherhood Crusade in 1968, as well as the National Black United Fund. Danny J. Bakewell Sr. led our institution for 35 years, and I became the first woman president and CEO now 20 years.
All these firsts, I love it.
And so when you think of our journey and our history of being a social justice organization, when I took the helm, we went through a very clear strategic plan and really landed on trauma-informed youth development, but still focusing on community and healing. And so our pillars are health, education, economic development, as well as institutional building, and always being in the space when the community needs us most. And so I think about our ancestors.
Yes.
I think about all of the folks who built our institution. When you have 57 years, and when we didn't have any foundations, it was our people. It was our people who provided us with individual donations. It was Black folks in corporate America and said, that's my charity. That's Brotherhood Crusade. and we're going to build it and we're going to sustain it. And so for me to lead this incredible institution today, really by the community, I'm always overwhelmed, overjoyed, and grateful that I get to serve my people.
When you guys think about being the first women, and I know you are very familiar with these organizations way before, of course. But how was your mindset coming in being different than the male counterpart that was before you? What kind of things did you want to bring into your helm?
Well, listen, when you're brought up, just like Sharice said, her father in the community, my father in the community, you are raised under this strong leadership, but these strong Black men taught their daughters how to lead. So since we were young, we've been taught through example, not just through academics, but through examples, how to lead. So when we step up now, this is a common place for us.
Wow.
This is not landscape by which we know not. This is a landscape by which we're very comfortable with.
Stick with the conversation, family. Women making a difference on KJLH.
Girl Shirley Strawberry
Morning
here.
today. What's going on around the community?
Well, we're honoring these 3 amazing women for Women's History Month as we close out. This is our Between the Sisters in the Community edition. I love this behind the scenes conversation. And I wish you guys could hear what we're talking about behind the scenes. I wanted to let Sharice answer that as well, about how it is you wanted to make it differently, the way you lead differently.
Adai, that is a great question. I reflect back when Danny and the board kind of did the handoff.
Yeah.
And for me, it actually fueled me to I'm going to lead with compassion, vision, and thoughtfulness. So many people didn't know who I was.
Wow.
And they said, oh, that's nice. He gave it to the founder's daughter. Oh, she's going to be a great administrator. How is she going to be able to follow in Mr. Bakewell's footsteps? And so many things, and really a lot of women.
Yeah.
I'll never forget I was meeting with a woman leader, and she shared, what are we going to do with Danny and Mr. Mack retiring at the same time? This is just so terrible for our community. And so for me, it just gave me everything I needed to know that I needed to do to empower not only our young people, but our community. I talk about our growth. At the time, we were $1 million budget. Today, we are 17 million.
Wow.
Operating. We had 7 employees when I started, 53 full-time, 30 part-time. And so for me, it is always about community, but also it is around women empowerment. It is around when people don't know you.
Right.
And they make judgments without
Yes.
even knowing your work ethic. My mentors from Mr. Bakewell, from Karen Earl to Marguerite Archie-Hudson,
Yes.
and my parents.
Yes.
And so when you're in rooms all your life,
Behind the scenes, we're doing the work. Yes.
what leadership means, how you show up, it's everything. And our community is everything. And so I knew this institution would not fail under my watch.
It's so unfortunate that we're still having those conversations where you guys walk in the room, they see a woman, what do they think? Cynthia, what do they
Well, I'm going to piggyback a little bit on
Okay.
what Sharice said, because it's so very true. When I first started, which was a couple of years ago, I too had to follow that of John Mack and that of my predecessor, Michael Lawson, Ambassador Michael Lawson. And I remember often walking in certain rooms and they automatically shake the hand of the man, thinking that that person is the CEO. And it is very interesting when you have to step forward. Sometimes you assess it and just say, let me watch this.
Right.
But within the community, people have to understand that we as women, we are so multifaceted and multididactic in our approaches. We do a lot and we do it all. So we are very talented in the way we approach things, and we're not singular. But it is really interesting how at this level of leadership, I mean, what can you say? We had 2 women potential presidential candidates. They didn't make it.
Yeah.
So both Sharice and I, as we lead these organizations, we have to be steadfast. We cannot be broken down. Often when you walk in these rooms, you know what they're thinking.
Yeah.
And when you take the seat at the top of that table, you know what that seat means. You know it means leadership. And you just have to come with it, and you have to cut the noise out, because as Sharice said, at the end of the day, it's about what are we producing for our community. And we have doubters. They can doubt all day. But it's about what we do and how we make those accomplishments. And we women in this community, we are stepped up. But the one piece about it is we're sisters. And there's something about a sisterhood.
Yeah, between
Don't
sisters.
talk about a black sisterhood.
Come on now.
Okay? So with that, it's so very important. But it's so very important to support each other, even in times of turmoil and in times of challenges, to lift each other up. And I think we do just that.
We do that quite well.
How many times have you guys been on the phone and called each other up and said, hey, this is going on. This is going, how would you handle this? How would you do different things like that? You stay in constant communication?
I think we are connected and bonded. As Cynthia shared, we've traveled together. We have convened together. We have strategized together. But I think when you are in a powerful women's circle a day, I could go to Cynthia for something, or I could go to Karen Earl for something.
That's my girl.
I could go to
Karen.
the mayor for something.
Yes.
I think it is real critical that we understand the depth of our leadership and what we're great at when we need troubleshooting, when you think, am I crazy? And then when you share it with your sister, they're like, oh my God, I'm dealing with the same thing. And so it's different perspectives, but also the learning. I think when you are a constant learner for knowledge and best practices, you will always seek out women leaders who understand what is happening, how we navigate, but how we support.
That's your unique journey of that, right?
Well, and it's also, absolutely, it's also very important not to let the outside pit you all against each other.
And they will do that.
Oh, absolutely, they will. And when we talk about the sisterhood, from the highest level of legislation to community leaders to corporate leaders, there is a network of women, and we respect each and every one of us.
Wow.
But it's super important to understand that people will pit you against each other. But that underground that we have, and that linkage and that bond together, is unstoppable.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, we are hearing from some fearless leaders in our community that are doing outstanding work. When we come back, we're going to chat with Miss Lori Gay, President and CEO of the Neighborhood Housing Services. She's going to share with us her journey. And then I want to talk to the ladies about what they do for themselves. You guys do and work so much for everyone else, but you have to take a minute to do some self-care. We're going to find out what you can do to inspire other women to step into leadership roles and how that all plays out between sisters. It's Adai Lamar here with Radio Free 102.3 KJLH.
With the one and only Adai Lamar. What's the 411, girl?
Well, we are talking to some wonderful women that are making a difference in our community. This is our Women's History edition, an extension of the conversation between sisters, talking to them about their leadership roles. Each of them have had their own unique journey, but they're kind of weaved together because you face some of the same challenges and wins. We were talking a little bit earlier to Cynthia Mitchell-Hurd, CEO and President of the Los Angeles Urban League, Sharice Bremond-Weaver, Brotherhood Crusade CEO and President, about their unique journeys. And now joining us, if you'll just kind of slide that one over, we're going to give that mic to her. Now joining us, we've got Lori Gay, President of Neighborhood Housing Services. Good morning, sis.
How you doing?
Let me tell you, I know the weather is horrible out there. When you told me that you'd be running a little late, look, I said, just be safe. Just be safe. Just be safe. Because it is horrible out there. Thank you for answering the call.
No, thank you. And I'll admit, at 62, I had this on the wrong day after you. Adai, Lamar followed up with me 50 times. It was beautiful. And I failed you, so I was rushing.
Let me tell you something, sis.
I was rushing.
Every day you get up and do what you do, you have failed no one, okay?
I appreciate
You
it.
have been here for our community.
I pinched myself,
in so
though.
many
that.
ways. Let me tell you, in so many ways you've been here for our community. Tell us a little bit about neighborhood housing services. I was telling everybody we're just doing little briefs, but this is more like a sister girl conversation about being a leader in those roles.
Yeah, well, I'm 34 at NHS out of their 40 plus years.
Wow.
And when I came, they were 7, and I was working in an administrative office in Vernon Central in the back of the McKinley Avenue Baptist Church. So I go back to roots, right?
Yes.
And I had a great mentor that scooped me up, Sandra Knox. And I mention her more now because of the wildfires. But Sandy helped found and run the NHS in Pasadena for about 35 years. And then Pat Tucker took over, and she's still engaged and involved. So there's been a long history of neighborhood housing services in the region. And I look at the work of affordable homeownership. That's all we think about. Mm-hmm. And then small businesses certainly have been in our view much more keenly in the last decade. So that work of buy, fix, keep, sell. Mm-hmm. That's our little adage. Get them into affordable homeownership, help them stay there. And then with business, it's really always been so many business owners starting out use their home as their main asset to put onto applications to get financed. And we did some small business loans early on, but found our work was really in being technical support, right? Mm-hmm. And then feeding those small businesses into the Small Business Development Corporation movement, which is still so active and phenomenal today. So people come see us for some of everything housing.
I love it.
And we love it, and thank you.
You started, you said, in the back office. You know what I mean?
I was upstairs in the back with the funerals.
But it took someone to see something in you.
Yes.
To say, you know what? I need to cultivate that. I need to nourish that in her. And you had to say, I see that. I want that. I want to be able to do that. Each of you share about who that person was or who those mentors were and how you then pay it forward by mentoring others.
Well, I am so blessed. I have many mentors growing up, from Lillian Mobley to Mary Henry to Marguerite Archie Hudson to my mentor and surrogate father, Danny J. Bakewell Sr., and my sister, Karen Earl. Those are like really outside of my family. But growing up and only working in South Los Angeles all my life, the knowledge of understanding the work, the knowledge of how you show up. I always tell this story before we had cell phones. I was at a presentation with Mary Henry. I was 5 minutes late. She told me to wait after the meeting. She got on the phone and called Mr. Bakewell and said, what are you teaching her? She does not get to come in this community late. She can't work in this community if she's going to be like that. And I thought I was going to be fired. I kid you not. I'm right out of college. I'm like, oh my. But that type of investment of care about how you do this work, it laid the foundation for me.
Let me tell you, we need more mentorship like that with some of our young ones coming in. That's what we really need, and a lot of young people really still need that mentorship. How did mentorship play such a big role with you, Cynthia?
Well, I always talk about going way back. Mm-hmm. Congresswoman Maxine Waters and the Honorable Diane Watson were partners with my father, and so I grew up with them.
Yes.
And as I began to matriculate and grow into just the workforce, they began wrapping their arms around me, not only through example,
yes,
but as Sharice just said, when you step out a little bit and you go a little left or go a little right, especially Honorable Diane Watson, she will pull you and say, baby, come here. Come here for a moment. Sit down. And that kind of mentorship is invaluable. But I also had another big mentor in my life. We're part of the Crouch family. And so Bishop Crouch is my uncle. And so in growing up in the Church of God in Christ, you had many mentors within the church. And so it also taught me the value of integrity and the value of not compromising one's values and being able to share that with all in the community. And so, you know, I just always remember sometimes sitting in the pulpit and watching as a young child as my aunt was the mother of the church, and the respect. So earning the respect of a community is key.
Yes.
You can never walk into a community without an understanding. So that mentorship taught me,
Yes.
no matter how big, smart, or whatever you think you are, stay humble to the community and their needs at all
Girl, you
times.
preach it to the choir out here. Let me tell you, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, she is a tough cookie, right? Love her. I remember when our sister Jackie Stevens decided to go and stay with her mother. She wanted to go back to Chicago. And I remember when I had to step into the role of working how we did with the Women's Health Expo. Let me tell you something. I said, y'all gonna have to bring, you got to bring her back and let her explain like what's going on. But Congresswoman Maxine Waters, she does not play.
She's no joke.
She's no joke. She's no joke. And you do have to earn her respect because she saw me. She's like, I think it took her several years to get my name right. But do you think I was going to correct her? No.
She knew your name.
Yeah, she knew my name.
She just was not going to acknowledge you.
Yeah.
You were all of
That's
community.
come on. She got to make sure you about the community.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
All right, Lori, tell us some of your folks.
I'm laughing because those stories tell so many times. I was sitting here thinking, you know, and I don't use the word mentor really in my normal, as my father would say, vernacular. But I'm from a faith tradition. And so when you mentioned the Crouch family, we were doing studio work with the Crouches when I was young. All preachers' kids, everybody could sing, play. That was required. We were the church choir, all that. So my dad pastored up in a little town called Orville. And we were the only blacks in our schools until like 4th or 5th grade. And we still got spit on and called out of our names every day till 9th grade for me, when the girl whose name I won't say because I still remember it. These are marked moments. I told her, you're not ever calling me that again. And haven't I been friendly to you like for our whole lifetime so far? You know, and I remember I'm standing there negotiating with this white chick. And I just thought, this will never happen again.
Like, you put your foot down.
Well,
like,
I realized, wait a minute, I've been getting spit on my whole life. And so I think these things shape you, right?
Yeah.
And in faith, I was at an event yesterday for Women's History Month and so blessed to be on a pulpit space with ladies who are so great and so gracious. And I said to them, I belong to Jesus. You know, that's who I am.
Yes.
And it's never changed. I've been in the faith community my whole life. And that's been my mentorship. Pick a religion. My dad was a bit radical because he was a Holy Ghost preacher. But he also embraced every kind of faith. And in a small town with 5,000 people, you learn to do that. And then I came here after college. And I realized that I had no clue. And then I married a great guy who knew some of everybody. And my husband, Bob, was in politics, and then he went into ministry, the other crazy political space. And what I've learned now over all these years of being together with him and creating our own family, you know, and so forth, you just have to serve. And if you think you're a CEO who can not have a servant leadership heart in our communities, you don't make impact. And I was fussing with some CEOs recently as we all try to figure out how to be best in the Eaton Fire Zone in particular with families who are black, right? We all have some commitment to that. And I said to them, you guys just got here. You're trying to make me feel like I just got here because we didn't have an office over the last 10 years in the space there. I said, I'm going to start talking about Sandra Knox because you need to understand what 38 years of hard work looks like. And then let us all bow and be more respectful, not only to ourselves and to each other kind of thing, but for the families. This is about them.
Yes.
And I do think that that's the best mentorship we can give each other, is that we're here to serve and to keep that heart that, in my world, honors God by honoring others. I don't put that to everybody, right? People live their own lives in space. But whatever you do, be respectful and just give some glory to some people who walked before you. So every lady that was named by my two sisters here, certainly. And then in my world, Marcia Hampton was that person. She's gone on now, that looked at me as an administrative chick with a college degree. She didn't care about that. You better start knocking on doors and get in here and get some work done, and don't be late. Same thing. And so that carried on, I'd say, from what my parents and all the faith community had embedded in me. And then now over time, as I've been here, a long time now, just honoring our elders in every way possible. And certainly many great women who've gone before us in politics, in business, in industry. There's so many that they're unsung. And I wish we could do more of that, and I'm grateful.
We were playing the song when you guys came in. I don't know if you heard it. It was God in me.
Oh, yeah.
How for you two ladies as well, Sharice and Cynthia, important is your faith in what you do every day?
Every day, I work for God. And when you understand that, when you work for God, your purpose will always be revealed. And I say it every day, God just used me to do your work. And that is the first thing I say every morning, because he is my everything. And so it is my faith.
I will say the same. This work is challenging. And every day I'm on my knees because this is an appointment. This is an assignment. And it's nothing to not confront. And you have to confront it with the utmost faith. And when things get hard, that's where I go. But just in taking us back real quick, that's something my mother taught me, is to lead by faith and to always never forget that he guides our life. And when things get hard, go to him and you will never fail.
Never fail.
So it's faith.
I tell you what, everyone, if you're tuning in, we're talking to three amazing women in our community that are leading their organizations to really dig in and help our community. Cynthia Mitchell-Hurd, CEO and president of the Los Angeles Urban League. Lori Gay, president and CEO of Neighborhood Housing Services. Sharice Bremond-Weaver, Brotherhood Crusade president and CEO. We're chatting with them. This is between sisters and women that are making a difference. We are closing out Women's History Month, but I had to get a few of my favorite people in here, and we're going to do this more often. We were talking about doing it once a year. I said, there's so much work that's happening in our community with women once a year. So we're going to figure out how we can do this once a month, bringing in different people. Some of the women that you've named already that we want to really get in here and talk to them about their journeys. I want you to stick around, family, because we've got some more. If you're a leader in your community, maybe you're a woman that wants to step up in a different role and you want to figure out how. Are there classes? Whether you have what it takes. We're going to talk with these ladies to find out if they can put a little bit more, plant that seed in you, all right? Good morning, family. It's Adai Lamar with Radio Free, 102.3 KJLH.
Today with the one and only Adai Lamar. What's the 411, girl?
Oh, my gosh. I tell you what, Tommy, if you guys could hear the behind the scenes conversation we're having with my sisters, women who are making a difference. Thank you guys so much for coming in and being a part of this. This is great. This is the conversation I wanted us to have. Thank you, all of you. Look, I want to talk a minute about those that are listening and saying, I want to be a leader. I want to have a mentality of leadership. What are some of the things that you can give them as advice or just be prepared for? Because I heard you say, Cynthia, like, this will bring you to your knees. Like, this work, some people aren't cut for that. They aren't cut for it. Unless they're ready to do the work, right? Who would like to go first?
I think we're all leaders.
Mm-hmm.
I really believe that. But how you show up and how you receive information and how you volunteer. I listen to all of us. I listen to Lori about the church. I listen to Cynthia about the church. I grew up under Reverend James Lawson, Holman Methodist Church. And really, it started at a very young age around developing your leadership skills. Brother Crusade works with young people. I am all in for helping young people to be phenomenal leaders with whatever they do. Mm-hmm. They don't have to run a nonprofit, but if you're a teacher, you're leading in that space.
In your space.
If you're a doctor, you're leading in your craft. And so I really believe it. Also, not to take things personal when people are giving you feedback. Mm. It is a different era of how people receive information. Mm-hmm. And I think because of our social media, Instagram, all these different methods, but it really is that personal one-on-one that really, when you are coaching someone and pouring into someone,
mentoring, that's the mentorship.
Coaching up. We all have to coach up. We all have to invest in others because none of us are in these seats because of ourselves. It was always someone who invested in us to allow us to be in these great positions today.
All right. Lori?
Ditto. I can beat that. But yeah, I think that I'll just thrive a bit on the point around being willing to take sound advice.
Yeah.
Wisdom is the principal thing, and all you're getting, get an understanding. And I have had the honor of people sharing wisdom that sound with me for a long time. And I think for young people today, bottom line, hard work. Now, you can be more efficient with technology, and maybe you can be virtual, but people still need people. Mm-hmm. And in the work of community development and real estate development, like I'm in, finance, you better sit with somebody so they understand what you're saying to them. That's how we have 4 foreclosures in 40 years. Wow. 29,000 plus deals. There's only certain ways. It's people get educated, one. And then 2, we've spent the time, right? Underwriting and originating and processing, all the things we do. And we're not special. There's hundreds of CDFIs like us, community development financial institutions, around the country, right, that are doing this work. And in Black circles, we have hundreds of those kinds of institutions, minority development banks, right, that are feeding in. So young people, there is so much room for you. Mm-hmm. And if you want to work hard and you have an interest in finance or tech or real estate or whatever, you can make your money.
And take guidance.
Take the guidance because people have lived through enough transactions.
And it may not be delivered the way you want it to be delivered. I mean, my mentors, it was tough love, and it's sometimes the younger generation just don't want to hear it. They think you're hating, or I'm just trying to guide you. I'm just trying to guide you and give you a little bit more.
And help you avoid the pitfalls I had.
Yeah.
Someone said to me early on, this is just a pothole.
Yeah.
It's just a dip, Lori.
I like it.
Just don't forget that.
Yeah.
And so even when you're getting constructive feedback, it's out of love, and people need to be more sensitive to that.
Yeah.
That we're trying to help you not fall off the edge of the table here.
Right.
Because sometimes you splat, you won't get back up so well. So I think all of that is the love and nurture. I use that word.
Nurture.
That we have for our community.
All right, Lady Cynthia.
And I think what's really super important is tenacity. Just knowing how. That's what my sisters here were talking about. Because everybody's going to fall. Mm-hmm. But it's learning how and teaching this next generation how to get back up.
Yes.
And also never, ever, ever underestimate or not respect the shoulders that you are standing on. And there are many of them, as we have mentioned today. It is so very important to just have a little bit of respect for those that went before you. Because if you take that combination of effort, combination of hard work, you just can take that and then expand upon it.
Right.
That's really all we're trying to do. And the other component is stay prepared. You don't have to get ready if what? You stay ready. Stay ready. And that's what we're trying to show folks is that stay ready. And young people, just continue to try. Just try to have a little faith in what we've gone through. Doesn't mean that we've done everything right. But we have some battle scars that you might not have to take if you just listen.
Slow down and listen.
Slow down and listen. And then the last thing I'll share with you is just hand it back. That's all I ever ask. When I ask people to just look, I'm going to download to you everything I have. Just promise me you'll give it back. And one day, I say this to many young folk, that one day you're going to be talking the same thing we're saying. And just remind me, as I will be much older, and I'm going to just look at you and say, I told you.
I told you.
I told you. So, thank you.
Let me tell you, women making a difference in our community, we wanted to make sure that we honored you for what you do, for just being who you are and how you lead with grace, with determination. You get up every day and show up. We wanted to give you your flowers. So I want them to go ahead and bring the flowers in. Yes.
Thank you.
You deserve flowers.
Let me tell you, you brought up one lady I simply love, Karen Earl with Genesee Center. I took her out just to get her out to Disneyland. So, ladies, guess what?
Thank you.
You're going to the Disneyland Resort!
No way.
Yes, way.
I'm such a big kid. Okay? And it's like the best day ever when I go there. So thank you.
You're going to have a blast.
Oh, my
We have certificates.
Wow.
We have certificates for you as well. Bring those over, Lady Shawnees. Let me tell you, we wanted to really let you know how much we love you, how much your work means to us and everyone. And how you pour into everyone each and every day. I don't know what you do for yourselves because that's so much a heavy weight on you every day to get up. But whatever it is, we hope this helps lighten the load and give you a moment to just breathe and know that our community is sending so many blessings back to you. And however we can support you, please always let us know. You know, this is your home here at KJLH, right?
Thank you. This is so
Like
special.
a Monday surprise.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, we got to wrap up and get out of here, but I do hope you had the chance to check this out. We're going to put this on all of our social media channels. Ladies, we love you. We love you. These are women making a difference, and KJLH is proud to be your friend and your family. It's a Day Lamar Radio Free, 102.3 KJLH.